I was going to come to you, Faiz, and I was going to tell you that you need to give us your own perspective
Yeah, definitely.
on
Madhvi,
IFCs,
Madhvi
and
already,
yes, from where you
Madhvi
sit.
already painted such a nice picture of what an IFC is, and thank you for that, Madhvi. But going to the subject of family businesses and how you can how a family business can use an IFC, I will maybe drop a little bit more into the details. Uh, when you are heading a family business, whether it's your creation or you have inherited that business, what is very important, and Madhvi highlighted it, is the estate planning. How do you plan the succession of this family business? First thing that comes to your mind is that if you're the first one, the creator, you have a personal attachment, like if like it was your baby that you have created. This company means a lot to you, so you want that company to thrive and to keep prosper in the future for the generations to come. And let's face the fact, most of the time when you're looking at IFCs, means that your family business is already doing well in terms of cash flows. So that may be another point. So apart from the estate planning side, how do you want your business to be continued after you are not there to assist in the business? So that can be helped through trust, where you can have protector beneficiaries, and the way you want to structure this, maybe to have a nominated board with members of your families plus a business person, because most of the time what we've seen with family business is that if you leave the family business in the hands only of the family, it doesn't last within generations. So you need to put some what I have the French terms, what we call garde-fou. So you need to have those watchtowers that will be
The guardrails.
yeah, with guardrails, exactly. So those guardrails will be there to avoid any unwanted strategic decision. So by doing that, you can structure this as a trust, and having the protectors being members of the board, that will allow that company to thrive and allow generations to come after you to benefit from the positive cash flows of your business. So this is one of the major points that I would see using an IFC, using trust, foundation, whatever, but to structure that so that your business keeps on thriving. And the second thing would be, and we have to be clear, IFCs have their importance in the fact that they are they are tax efficient structures. They exist for that purpose. So the tax efficiency takes all its ground, where you can see the benefit in paying less taxes in your current jurisdiction. So that way you can move your holding, your administrative side. You were talking about a factory. You have a factory in Nigeria. What, you can't move your factory? That would be insane, because it's already doing well. You have all your process put into place. But what you can do is move your administration outside of Nigeria, then having part of your revenue moved out in an IFC, so that it will give you a tax efficient structure within your group. So and most of the time, how you have to weight it is the amount of tax I'm paying in my country worth moving to another country? Because moving to an IFC, there are costs related to it, and you have to weight it. And it's a simple calculation. You know how much tax you're paying, you know how much tax you will be paying, looking at your forecast, and talking with people like us, you will know what are the costs related to setting up in an IFC, whatever the jurisdiction of your choice may be. There are jurisdictions, like Madhvi said, that are less expensive than others, and the level of transparency, the level of services depends a lot on this. Mauritius, being one of the primes, is in the African region one of the most looked after, but there are also other options depending on what you're willing to spend versus the service that you're willing to get. So these two things are, for me, the most important when you're talking about family business, in the way that how you want your business to continue after you're not here to take care of it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Faiz. I want us to quickly address, I know that, I mean, one of the key things you said, which kind of puts a lot of things into perspective, is the fact that the businesses or the enterprises that we're addressing have to be doing very well as it is, or even if they are not even doing very well at the moment with very good cash flows and revenue generating businesses. They should also, maybe they are in their early stages of growth. They should really be thinking about this because of the diversification opportunities that it provides, and all the other things that Madhvi had earlier noted, with respect to being able to attract, using these IFCs as a vehicle to be able to attract funding, and also enjoy the transparency that it also provides for international funders as well, to be able to provide those capital investment that are much needed for either expansion or other things, as well as also succession planning or transition planning, as you would have it. But let's delve into what are the concerns I would have legally? So I'm doing so well as a family business. I'm probably still in my first generation, but heading towards, having to bring up the second generation or even the third generation. And there is progress going on within the enterprise. What are the legal and financial concerns that I should have, or I should take into consideration when I'm looking at an IFC? Yeah,
So for
Faiz,
me,
that was for you. Yes.
okay, so for me, the considerations when you're whether your business is successful or not, you have to you have the better understanding of your business, and you know where your business is heading. Whether your forecast shows that there will be a growth somewhere somehow, or just whether because you know intrinsically that this is your baby and you want it to keep on continue, and at some point in time it will bring some positive feedback. So for me, what you should, the legal aspects obviously are the fiscality when you're doing estate planning. So for instance, if you have a trust based in Mauritius or in Seychelles, when you are transferring your shares or anything, any assets that you have within these trusts, there will be no tax implication as per se, because they will be already moved into that trust, and the beneficiaries of that trust will be eligible to have hands on these assets without fearing any tax implication. I'm really not that much focused on the fiscality in Africa. But for instance, if you compare it to Europe and what most entrepreneurs in Europe do, they like to move their holding, or they like to move the administrative side of their business into Mauritius. So because of they know at some point in time when they will be transferring their shares to the next generation, there will be some tax implications, and that can go up to 40%, depending on where you are in Europe. So if such is the case for certain countries in Africa, there's definitely a need to look into that. What are the tax implications when I will be giving the shares of my companies to the succession, to my heirs? And then again, I will come on that point, because this is why we go to IFCs. It's the tax implication, the corporate taxes. If you know that your company will be impacted in some way or another by huge tax, you know that legally you have the right to do a tax efficient structure. somewhere else, where you can have substance, offices, people working in those jurisdictions to give substance to what you are doing, but also decreasing the cost. So maybe if your company is not doing that well, it might be because of some elevated costs that you can bring down by looking into some IFCs. So these for me are the two most important aspects.
So Faiz, just as we're rounding up this part of the conversation, I know that there are significant compliance regimes, and I can say from the work we've done, in meeting challenges in other jurisdictions. So you're looking at either the Caymans, or you're looking at Jersey, or you're looking at other jurisdictions. You find out that there is this. You find out that if you're an African, if you're an African, that's one. If you're now a Nigerian citizen or it's Nigerian business, you find out that there's a lot of skepticism when it comes to those jurisdictions, especially on the islands, and all that, and the compliance regime that you have to work through, and just understanding the nuances of our business operations as Africans. So from my own experience, our own experience is that when you have the Seychelles and the Mauritius, there tend to be an understanding of how, as an African business, what are the nuances that you would see in dealing with those businesses as against what you would have when you are trying to approach other IFCs, whether it's in Jersey or off the coast of UK. But that said, I want to look at the compliance regime, because they are global compliance regimes. We have the common reporting standards, we have the economic substance rules, and I mean, we all know what the AFCFTA does every time to just kind of clamp down on money laundering and terrorist financing. So where do Mauritius, where do the IFCs, Faiz and Madhvi, this is for you, where do you stand, and how do you help clients such that they don't get overwhelmed with the compliance regime that they have to face when they are trying to, make their businesses operationally efficient and benefit from all the things that an IFC can provide for them, such that they don't get more boxed in and more overwhelmed with what they have to comply with when they go offshore?
So for me, again, I'll come back to that, the choice of the African family to choose a proper IFC. Mauritius being part of Africa, culturally, we all alike. So we have that expertise to deal with European countries, Asian countries, but at the same time, we are a gateway to Africa. So we understand both sides of the coin. And given you rightly said, we follow the international norms. And we know we have the expertise. If something there is, like if we are having issues with a UK bank, we will be able to justify and facilitate that processing of a money or transactions, because we know how it should be done. Compared to a person who is based in Nigeria, maybe they don't have that exposure, it becomes more challenging. So again, choosing the right IFC and the right service provider is core in such type of structuring.
Okay, Faiz, do you want to speak to that as well? Yeah, the compliance burden, if any, that clients can face when they are trying to go offshore.
So for me, it's not about being a burden or not. Compliance is here to bring legitimacy, to bring comfort to anyone. So for me, if you look at compliance in that spectrum, it's the wrong way of looking at it. You must be thinking of what they're doing to me, they're doing to everyone within that IFC, so that it makes everything more transparent. with regards to the regulators, not with regards to everyone else, but with regards to the regulators in that particular jurisdiction. So for instance, if they are asking you for source of fund, proof of funds, just know that they are asking this for everyone else. That makes the IFC stronger. So that you have strong basis, and that you will not have, for instance, scammers being able to enter an IFC and bringing that IFC down. You have highly regulated structures, specialized license that have a lot of scrutiny on the KYC, on the compliance side. The thing is, for me, this shouldn't be looked at as being a burden. And most of the time, you will have your corporate service provider taking care of that, but you will still have to provide the documents. Unfortunately, this is the part where the service provider can't do anything but take the document, assess it, and forward it to the regulators for them to check these documents. That for me is not a burden. That for me is a proof that everything is being done to give legitimacy and give more trust into that IFC. And if just to add to what Madhvi said, if you're looking at different IFCs and you wonder which one you should go for, and if you're looking for more comfort, more transparency, you should look at the FATF list. So there's a black list, a gray list, and a white list. So basically, once you look at that list, you will be able to rank your IFC, know where you're going, what are the risks associated with going into one rather than another. And that's for me is the basis. So FATF gives that ranking, whether you are a high-risk jurisdiction or a low-risk jurisdiction, and that comes with the compliance framework that you're applying in that jurisdiction.
Okay, thank you so much. We are rounding up this session now. Your concluding comments on what are the trends and dynamics that you're seeing, and also how as an IFC, an advisor within the IFC, are you channeling the AFCFTA initiatives to ensure that at the end of the day, Africans become wealthy in their own land?
Sure. So for me, I will go back to what Madhvi said. We're seeing a huge change in the geographical representation of our clientele, which was much more European. Before European, it was much more US. But sorry, I'm very sorry. I can't put my video on. I've already started moving, so you will see a lot of things. I'm on a site, so if you don't mind me speaking without the video. So basically,
go ahead. Yeah.
Basically, what we can see now is that there's more and more African using the IFC's services, whether it's in Seychelles or it's in Mauritius, as well as the BRICS countries. We can see that there's much more Russian Asians using the IFCs, but a lot of African countries are represented into our portfolios right now. And the other trend I'm seeing, like Luis did mention, and like I do work in that field, is the use of what we call fintech. So whether it's digital assets, whether it's blockchains within operations of a company to give more trust to the process, whether it's the purchasing process, whether it's an internal process on a private blockchain, whether it is the use for some countries that don't have access to liquidity with regards to USD, they can move to USDT, USDC, which are cryptographic representation of USD. And what's more interesting is that everyone's afraid of crypto. Everyone has ever heard, yeah, you're going to get robbed of your crypto, the e-wallet are not safe, or there's too much volatility. But what you need to understand is that, for instance, when we're talking about USDT or USDC, they are pegged one-to-one to the USD. So whatever the USD will do, the USDT will mimic. So what we're seeing right now is a lot of African players that are having issues in getting these G8 currencies. What they are doing is that they are moving to the cryptographic representation. the digital version of these currencies and using them in international trade. I have some clients in your own country, Nigeria, that are using it. We have clients in Tanzania, in Mozambique, in various countries of Africa that are using crypto to move and to allow payments worldwide. However, some players are blocked by intermediary banks, and that's what's interesting with crypto, is that there's no link with banks, even though the representation it is pegged on the dollar. So the dollar moves up or down, the digital representation will do the same. So this is the new trend we're seeing, and that's why I'm linked to two hybrid securities exchange in Seychelles and Mauritius that are doing such thing, and we can see how that trend is affecting a lot of their business, because they're getting blocked even by banks, their own banks in the country, to get access to USD or to euros. And by using those digital assets, it helps them a lot in dealing with their international payments.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Faiz. So, yeah, so that brings us to the conclusion of this session.